G'day, Mr. Fitz here. Hope you're going well. This quick video is a tutorial on how to use a 3D printer. So refer to my previous tutorials in how you get your files off of your computer. So from Inventor into Cura. From Cura, you need to make sure you save your files onto a SD card. So put them onto an SD card. See the teacher if you need an adapter. Your file should be on here as a G code. So you need that as your first step. All right, 3D printer. School has a number of these, and this is our Cocoon range. So we have 3 of these machines in the school, and this is most likely what you're going to use most of the time. Before you start, have a good read through the SOP. There's a lot of information here that's important. In particular, I'll draw your attention to making sure that the workshop doors are open and the air conditioner is on to allow for ventilation. The machines can produce some, not so much smoke, but some little fine particles of plastic. They're not good for your health, and it's important that there's good ventilation in here. So in the room, make sure you're aware of how to turn the air conditioner on, opening any doors and windows so there's good ventilation. All right, turn the machine on. These machines, the switch is at the back of the machine here. So make sure the power point is turned on and flick the switch to turn the machine on. We'll go through a quick startup procedure. Now the SD card, whilst the machine's turning itself on, familiarise yourself with the location of the SD slot. So the card has to go in with the gold strips facing up, and push it in and you should hear a nice little click click. Now, check first you've got enough filament. If it's very low, then you need to see Mr. Fitz or another teacher about changing it over. Do not attempt to change the filament yourself unless you have been trained to do so. Before starting up, a couple of things we tend to do is go in the quick menu, and we are going to preheat the machine. And most of the time we're going to be using a plastic called PLA, so click on Preheat PLA. What this will do is it will heat up the extruder, which is the nozzle on the machine, and also the bed in preparation for your print. So doing this will save you some time and gets the machine ready to use. Next step, go back to the home screen. There is a step here called Level Wizard. Now, it is good practice before you're doing a run of prints to level the bed. You'll see the bed that we are going to print on, the surface, has these adjustments in all 4 corners. These can be wound up and down to get the bed level. It's important your bed is level, otherwise your plastic either won't stick or you'll run the extruder into the bed and can damage the bed and the extruder. So before we begin this, just always good to have a quick check, make sure the surface is clean on your bed. So you might want to remove any lumps or things left over and make sure it's nice and clean. These can be wiped over as well with a bit of rubbing alcohol. See Mr. Fitz if it's really filthy. So let's start the level wizard. I'll go through this quickly because it takes a bit of time. Essentially, you go through the steps, so read the wizard and you press next to begin, and the nozzle or the head of the machine will move to the bed. Now, to do this, you're going to also need a piece of A4 paper. The idea is that the tip of the nozzle needs to sit approximately a piece of paper distance away from the bed is the perfect height. So you should be able to slip in the paper and feel a little bit of grab, just enough to feel a bit of tension on the paper. That is the right height. If the paper's loose, then it needs to be raised. If you can't fit your paper in, then the bed needs to be lowered. So you adjust that by rotating this little thing here. So do that for the 4 corners. Once you've done it in each spot, you press next to take it to the next corner. So you leave your paper there, let it come down, check the tension and adjust as necessary. So you can continue this for all 4 corners until it is level. Very important to do that. Particularly if you haven't used the machine in a while, students can play with these and get it out of whack. It's important to make sure that's right. Okay, I'm going to go back out of that. Now, after this process, you should be ready to print. So it should be preheating. You can definitely know that it's heated by feeling the bed. So print. Once you go to print, it will take you to the file that is on the SD card. Most of the time, the latest file should show at the top. So if you've just saved it on the USB, on the SD card, sorry, you will find it at the top. So find it, press on it, and it's printing. So it'll get the bed and the extruder up to temperature, and that might take a few minutes. Then it should begin to print. Now it's really important that you watch the first few minutes of the print. Important to see that it's sticking to the bed and that the bed is not being smashed into by the extruder. You'll notice that if there's no plastic coming out, that means the extruder is pushing itself into the bed and not allowing plastic to come out. And that should be it. On this little scroll bar here on the screen, you will see the job printing, the name of it, and the percentage of it being completed. And as you would have seen in Cura, you should have an estimation of the time it takes to print. Come back when it's completed and then safely remove off of the bed. So Mr. Fitz will also talk you through that process in class or on a separate tutorial of how to safely remove your part from the bed. That's all. All the best with your 3D printing. Cheers.